and he's in trouble. He's going to run. He's going to get the first down.
Don't sleep on those legs. Oh, he faked the slide. Sauce time. The Pitt Panthers have pulled a stunning upset over the West Virginia Mountaineers.
And Johnny Majors gets a ride across the field.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Simplify Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Kaminsky. I'm joined by my co-hosts Mason Kling and Kent Vanderwood, both of whom were supposed to be arrested along with Donald J. Trump today. And yet here they are, sitting in front of me, ready to talk some Pitt basketball once again. So, Mason, how are we doing tonight?
Doing well. It's a sad day that we don't have any Pitt basketball to look forward to later this week, but we'll get into all that stuff. It's good. It was a good little run.
You know what? It was definitely probably even more so than the Syracuse game. Getting a tournament win is definitely the highlight of a season when it hasn't happened in 10 years, I believe was the last time, 9 or 10 years, the last tournament for Pitt. So that's awesome. Now, Kent, how are we doing?
I'm good. Don't be sad it's over. Smile that it happened. That's how I'm going into this.
Great mindset. Great mindset.
All right, so we last talked right before the Iowa State game, so let's start with that. The first real tournament win, even though I guess the play-in game technically counts, and it definitely counts for schools like FDU, who need to win that play-in game to whoop the shit out of Purdue. I was right about them. Just want to put that out there. But, all right, Iowa State. Let's hear it. I want to have you guys go first.
Ugly basketball game.
Another one, yeah.
If you like points, you hated this game.
You know what? The rims made some really funny sounds in this game. A lot of doings.
Yeah. I guess, any game where there's a delay for the rim not being level, probably set up for a low scoring affair, at least by one team. We start out, I guess we just start out saying we were up 22-2. We were hot. They were not. About 10 minutes into the game, 22-2.
It was at that point, I was feeling great. I was feeling pretty good. Even though you never truly feel safe with Pitt basketball because of honestly what happened next in this game. We were playing that first 10-minute stretch. There was like ball movement that I hadn't really seen before, and we were passing the ball well, and we weren't just relying on Burton to go get a shot. Like, it was good basketball, and we were playing incredible defense too. And then eventually it kind of averaged back out for both teams, and it got a little closer towards the end of the second half.
I'll be honest, I made the mistake. I let my guard down. I thought we were going to cruise to this victory. So like you said, around that 10-minute mark, everything starts to change, right? About halfway through the first half. Now, Pitt still led at the end of the first 30-23, but I think the biggest change in that final 10 minutes was the officiating. You could tell that in the first 10 and the last 10, at least in the first half, the game was officiated completely differently. And I don't know what it is, but I feel like March Madness has definitely been a very heavy ref year, and that's for a lot of teams. I think in a lot of games you're getting some calls that make you go, why are they letting you in this tournament? But I think there's been a lot of ref momentum, if that's a thing that makes sense. But we did go cold for sure, but there were a lot of charges that I was just completely just dumbfounded by.
Yeah, I will say, I think, we definitely had some dumb turnovers. Pretty much when you have a lead like that, two things you can't do are take stupid shots that lead to transition points the other way and just bad turnovers. And we did both of those things consistently. I think Nelly tripped and just let them, drop the ball. They had a layup the other way. We had Burton threw pass to the wing that just got picked off for an easy bucket the other way. There were a couple others. So just stupid turnovers leading to points. Like, that's exactly what you can't do. The recipe for losing a lead like that is exactly what we also did. I'm sure, I hear you about the refs. Like, there were definitely some calls, but at the same time, like, we got to control what we can control in that situation. We were like, I think they got content with a lead. They wanted to start taking some shots that were a little bit more just like, I don't know, for lack of a better word, like fancy, I guess, just like, I don't know, just threes and quick, like pull up shots that aren't, you're not passing the ball around. You're not looking for the best shot. You're just taking whatever you think, you're feeling in that moment, and you miss, and they just take the ball up the court and score right away. Pretty much the recipe to lose a lead like that. And that's exactly kind of what we did.
And it was like, it just like took the air out of the room too when we were up 22-2, and then you finish the half only up 7. And it's crazy because like we were saying that's while we were sitting there. Like, if you told me that we'd be up 7 against them going into halftime, I'd be like, okay, cool. Like, we're a good second half team. Let's just keep playing. Let's just keep playing our game, and we're good. But because of the way it like progressed, it almost felt like we were losing going into halftime, being up 7.
Oh, yeah, they definitely had so much more momentum than us. I mean, scoring 8 points in the final 10 minutes is, like, pretty much inexcusable, for sure. But, I mean, you control. The second half was locked down from Pitt. I mean, this half, Iowa State has a total of 18 points. I mean, just great defense, and just nothing fell for Iowa State. It was not meant to be.
Yeah. Well, it was one of those things too. So they were struggling from 3. I forget what the final percentage they shot was.
9.5.
9.5% from 3.
Yeah.
Abysmal. But I think one of the main reasons that we are so successful, even in the paint, despite not having Federico and having to go to the Twins, was because we didn't have to honor their threes at all.
Yeah.
Even we were packing in the defense so tight. The announcers were talking about it because they had like 2 or 3 guys that we just didn't have to guard at the perimeter.
They weren't even like taking shots either. They knew that like it was a bad shot to take.
Yeah. Anytime you see a point guard bringing the ball up the floor and Nelly Cummings is standing at like the top of the free throw line, just like, go ahead, bro. Like,
yeah, that certainly helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. That helps everything defensively when you don't have to worry about a guy, especially a point guard like that. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Pitt was playing pretty good defense, but yeah, they shot horribly. The second half was low-key harder to watch than the first half, not as a Pitt fan, but just like as a basketball fan, like that was just disgusting.
Yeah, that was really bad.
Pitt was not shooting the ball well either, and we'll kind of get to this like overall as like a tournament perspective. But yeah, if Pitt had shot like we know they can too, like this would have been even worse of a blowout. But just kind of like missed shots back and forth. We just happened to hit some more than they did, and yeah, they were bad.
Even though we ended up winning by a pretty comfortable margin, it was still like, even down to the last couple minutes, it didn't feel great, just because like we weren't scoring a whole lot. We did close it out pretty well, but it almost felt like, I don't know, maybe it was just the first tournament game in years, jitters or nervousness that we had, but it just felt like till the being up 15 even when they couldn't score, it was like, all right, this is the part where they're going to go on the run and come back and make it a close game. But credit to us for kind of hanging in there and keeping it at that stretch for probably the last 10 minutes or so, at least.
So I'm looking at the game flow, right? So with 7 minutes left, we're up 12, right? And one thing that we've seen with this team the entire season is that they don't have that go for the throat, like finishing move. I mean, from that point, with the next 5 minutes, they're up 25, and the game is completely out of reach with 3 minutes left. And that I thought was a really encouraging thing to see because, if this was the team we'd seen all year, they would have been within 5 with a minute left, right? And it would have been a total sweat, but it was so nice to, and it's not over till the last whistle, but when
Yeah.
you're up, 20 points with 2 minutes left, you feel a little bit better watching the last 2 minutes.
Yeah. Was that stretch when we were seeing the pick and roll from the Twins and stuff?
That would have been.
I feel like that was right in that time frame, right?
It had
It
to
was
be.
just like they went on a run. Everything was working. The crowd got back into it a little bit. It was a small stretch of good basketball in the second half.
Let me see. I'm looking because there's not many made shots. So when you have a made bucket, it really pops out on the on the play-by-play here on ESPN.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think play of the game is probably that twin to twin dish.
Well, that's
dunk.
actually that's what started off that run. That was
Yeah.
it puts us up from up 10 to up 12, and then they just don't look back. And I mean that dunk. I'm just going back and watching that highlight 3 or 4 times a day. That's a straight dopamine hit. I mean,
it confused the defenders. They saw 2 same people. They were like, what? Which one? Which one do I guard?
I thought you had Guillermo. That is Guillermo.
It's like playing defense in a mirror.
If that's what they have to offer, where they're just on the same page, if they have like some sort of psychic connection, like sort of in a horror movie style thing, I'm fine with that because that's so fucking cool to watch.
Yeah. They were like those twins for Nevada. When I can't remember their names, but they were really good. Probably like 2 or I don't know. My timelines are really off, but a couple years ago, and they had that same kind of chemistry where they would be on the court a lot together and played really well. If we get some of that going, that would be sweet.
Reminds me of the Morris twins too. Like any twins in college basketball, like fans can get behind that.
All right. That's pretty much it for Iowa State, right?
Yeah, I don't have any. No, I can't think of anything else.
I mean, I know we kind of ragged on the game a little bit. Like as gross of a game as it was, like it was definitely nice to just like cruise to a victory, not have to worry until like the very last shot of the game. So yeah, kudos to the guys. They closed it out comfortably, and it was nice.
It felt like a weight. It felt like a weight off the shoulders, or just to be able to like get the monkey off the back of. Like I know we won we won the playing game, but to go to the round of 32, it's like, all right, we always say Pitt is back, but like that really solidified it.
And now there's like no denial that they, in fact, like won a tournament game. It's like if they had lost in the round of 64, and it's like, well, they won a tournament game, they won the playing game, but they didn't because the playing game shouldn't count technically. None of that. So
I do have one more thing about the game. It was actually about a tweet after from Nike when he was like, because everybody's been hyping up the Big 12 all year, and I do think they probably are the best conference. But he tweeted, he was like, Big 12's just so good, huh? Right after the game, which I thought was
I loved that.
Yeah.
No, you know what? It was nice to get an upset too for your first tournament win back. I mean, also the thing for me is like, I thought I would be cool. Like, it's like, oh, we're playing with house money. Like, there's nothing really to lose. We're in the tournament. I was nervous the whole game. We were cursing up a storm. I was firing off tweets left and right. I mean, this one kind of just made me content for the Xavier game. We'll get into that. But I kind of want to transition to that game by going over, I think, 3 or 4 pretty standout shooting lines from the Iowa State game. Blake Hinson, 1 for 8, 1 for 7 from 3. Jamarius Burton, 1 for 7, no attempts from 3. Nelly Cummings, 5 for 11, 2 for 5 from 3. Greg Elliott, 1 for 5, 0 for 1 from 3. Let's transition over to the storyline of the Xavier game. Blake Hinson was 7 for 13, but 3 for 8 from 3. Burton was 7 for 18, 0 for 1 from 3. Cummings was 3 for 14, 1 for 5 from 3. And Greg Elliott was 1 for 6, 1 for 2 from 3. The shooting woes really came to bite us in the ass when we played with, a 3-seeded team, a team that can shoot. So I think that's where I want to start because, when Kunkel made 5 free throws free throws, 5 3-pointers in the first half. He's doing like just the most. You could put a Duke jersey on him when he's doing those crazy things with his tongue, and he would fit right in. But yeah, the shooters did not come through in this game.
Yeah, was disappointed a little bit once again with Pitt's shooting in this game. I kind of hoped after a very down game, or really after we didn't score that many points against Mississippi State either after the first half. Kind of hoped they would turn it around for this game. They were getting good looks from three, and even really like mid range too. Just shots that you're kind of accustomed to seeing them make. Just not really going down for them. And this game in the first half kind of started getting away.
Yeah, I mean, they're a 3 seed. They're a 3 seed for a reason. They're a very good team. Shot the ball incredibly well. I know you said it already, Zach, in the first half, starting 5 for 5, but it almost felt like it was 5 for 5 in the first 5 minutes. Like they just got up so quick that it was tough. And I feel like we're not a team that plays very well, like down in a hole like that. And that kind of just I feel like it got into our head until we tried to make a run at the end, and then it was too late.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, the thing was, we scored 73 points. Xavier had 84. They were shooting lights out. I mean, Uncle was shooting from, he was taking Blake Hinson shots. We didn't really have an answer for Jared Nungy with Guillermo playing. Fede tried to get in, but didn't. He was not ready at all for this game. But even so, the defense tightens up in the second half. But to start off the second half, we're down 12. And at that point, it's too late. Even Nungy fouls out, and there's a 5-minute stretch from about 7.5 minutes left in the second half to right around 2 minutes left in the second half, where Xavier does not score a point. The problem is Pitt was down 20 at the start of that stretch and then only cut the lead to 10 at the end. Even though, there was still a sort of a chance to win at the end where Desmond Claw was not making those free throws, it was just too much to overcome in 2 minutes. I do think they fought admirably. They just found their shooting stroke way too late into this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not letting the other team score for 5.5 minutes. You got to score more than 10 points.
Yeah.
The dagger to that was when it was still like we needed some magic to happen. But in that second half, I think like Burton gets an offensive rebound. He has like Greg
this was
Elliott,
the killer.
Has Greg Elliott standing like right in front of him, ready to shoot,
wide open.
I think it would have put us down like 7.
I think 6. I think we were down 9.
Yeah, it might have even been 6. And he like Nelly Cummings like claps. He throws it to him instead at the top of the key. Pass is stolen, and then it's like any momentum we did have was also just gone.
I want to say we were down 9. That obviously a Greg Elliott 3 would have put us down 6, and instead we found we're down double digits after he hits free throws. After we foul him, after he picks off the pass, that's like a 5-point swing.
Yeah, it ended up being exactly a 5. I think you're 100% right. So that definitely hurt too, because it was like, I don't know, you just got that feeling like he hits that shot. Once you're down 6, it's like anything can happen, and 1 or 2 extra missed free throws just extend the game, and you never know. But
yeah, Zach, I don't know if you're able to fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
Vamp for a second. I'm looking here because I'll fill some space. But another one that I think could have swung the momentum of the game was, I don't know when this was. I think it was pretty late into the game. I do agree with you that this was the dagger, that turnover on that bad pass from Burton was what cost us the game. But it was when Burton had just hit one of his signature long threes, and then the very next possession he pulls up
Hinson,
one.
you mean?
Yes, Hinson, sorry. I don't know why I missed those two. He pulls up for one of his signature long threes right after hitting one. It looks good the whole way and just bounces out. If that had gone,
it rimmed out. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about from the left wing that time.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it kind of hit the inside of the front of the rim and then rimmed out off the back. definitely needed to go like an inch farther, and it would have been nothing but net essentially.
So I did find the turnover. It was with 2:24 left or 2:20 left. We were down 10, so would have cut the lead to 7 with about 2.5 to play, which is a completely different game than being down 12 with about 2:15 to play.
Yeah, I mean, being down 7 is stopping a bucket, and you're back. You don't really have to you don't have to foul. You get a stop in a bucket, and you're back. You're back.
That's
in
just
it.
fouling that Claude guy again because he couldn't hit free throws for shit at the end of that game. They
Yeah.
actually had a pretty good plan for trying to claw back in.
Yeah, we gave. I mean, if the next round, if Xavier comes down, it's like a close game at the end. We kind of gave him the blueprint for how to extend the game if they need to. So you're welcome.
Yeah, they also did kind of leave us in it a little bit because they were missing free throws a lot. They could have put us away a little bit more too. But yeah, they gave us chances. We basically just didn't take advantage. A couple things to the start of this game. We kind of touched on this earlier, but they came out hot. And it reminded me a lot of the Duke game when Duke came out hot. I think Filipowski hit a couple threes at the beginning of the Duke game, and we did not score right away, and we just looked rattled, and we ended up losing by 27. This game, they come out, hit a 2, then hit a 3 on the next possession. We don't score. It gave me a lot of the same feelings of kind of how that game started. I think they just could not let that rattle them. You got to lock down in that type of situation. I know it's hard.
Well, I mean, for that start, I mean, they were actually going back and forth with them right up until 12 minutes left, and that's when they hit a couple. I think they hit a couple threes or they score 10 points in a matter of 2 minutes, and that's when it took them the rest of the game to get back into that.
That's where the difference in shot making, the difference in athletes kind of caught up to them.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And at halftime, it's they're not going to shoot that well from 3 in the second half.
Yeah,
you can't. You got to know that they're not going to be able to shoot that well from 3 in the second half. And they didn't, but at the same time, they were pretty much even in the second half. I think they were down 14.5, end up losing by 11. So, you win by 3 points in the second half. Even when the other team does come down, you don't pick up your own shooting. So, they certainly had a chance in this game. They just did not hit shots when they really needed to.
Yeah. And you know what? I will say one thing that if I were, on the coaching staff, I'm looking at Xavier's ball movement. That is that's what I want from Jeff Capel's offense. And I know that the makeup of this team was so shooter heavy that it was a lot of going around the horn and ISO ball. But if you got the Twins and their psychic connection, you should be looking at the Xavier tape and being like, all right, what can we learn from this as a coaching staff?
100%. It was probably why they're making all their shots, because they're getting really open ones and they're in rhythm. It's easier to make a shot from a catch and shoot than it is from Blake Hinson having to pull up, create a shot on his own, and hope it goes in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly the years of all their players, but another thing is as a transfer team, I'm going to assume Xavier probably has less guys who are all transfers, but you know what? All right. We've been pretty negative about this game, but all in all, I'm not too torn up about this. Would either of you sort of say otherwise?
I mean,
the season was already a success. I think this was really just playing with house money, going against the 3 seed.
And
it does suck that I think it was attainable as a win, but in the end, I'm not living and dying by this game. I would have died if we lost Iowa State, but this one, sure, it's number 3 seeded Xavier.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you there. I think just the fact that I very much believe this was a winnable game. It still just is bothersome, but at the same time, this team by far exceeded every expectation we had this year to win, the play-in game, which, they shouldn't have even been a play-in team. Like, they should have bypassed that. But, to win that and then win, a tournament game after being projected to be 14th in the ACC and not making the tournament for 7 years, like, I will take that. Don't get me wrong.
If you want a tearjerker, that Aiden Fish interview after the game was a great. I know it was a lot about his journey, but there were a lot of parallels to kind of like what the team went through this season and facing adversity and having that start to the season, but powering through. So I thought that was a really good kind of cap to a great season.
That interview definitely like made me smile for sure. I mean, it sucks that they're out, but like you can tell like he's just reveling in the fact that like he's on the first tournament team in years. I mean, if you want to talk about parallels, man, when Aiden Fish starts with the team, he's a manager. He's not even a walk-on, and that's pretty much like probably your lowest position on the basketball team. The team is at its absolute lowest, coming off that 0-17 ACC season. And then when he's finally getting a scholarship to play, they made the tournament. It is almost a direct parallel between their two trajectories,
Yeah.
By the way, Aiden, come on the pod. We'd love to have you. All right. So I want to talk about some other stuff, actually some positives to kind of go out on before we talk, I think, the rest of the tournament. I think I mentioned this earlier, but I am really excited to see the Diaz-Graham twins play a full year. Maybe get some muscle on them, but like Guillermo Diaz-Graham, I thought was going to be a complete and total liability going into the tournament. And I think with the exception of Nunji, who is like a giant mountain of a man and could bully Guillermo inside, like he was absolutely excellent throughout the tournament. He's got to work on his threes a little bit. He's a little too inconsistent, but some of those alley-oops, some of those inside plays, I mean, throughout the tournament, the rebounding has been pretty even though at times it doesn't feel like that. And, like, that might have just been Guillermo playing. Like, the boards across the two teams were much more evenly spread out than some of those extremely lopsided ACC games we were playing earlier in the year.
Yeah, was definitely proud of the way that Guillermo stepped up once Federico went down. You could kind of see his confidence grow with each minute. Every block, every play he made, you could just tell. You could see the confidence in him grow. So yeah, I am really excited to see him after an off season of hopefully putting on some more weight and hitting the weights. See what
if you see Guillermo on campus, go up and offer him a meal swipe.
You know what, man? You know what I wish was still open? We would get some weight on those boys real quick. The O. If the O was still open, these guys would have been. We wouldn't be talking about weight issues if the O was still open. That's all I'm going to say.
They're on a strict one large fry a day diet.
And you're using the whole cheese sauce container.
No, but it will be good. I'm sure they're going to grow a lot this off season. Almost, I think, probably like if you look back at the season on a macro level, probably a good thing Federico got hurt and these guys got to get those minutes in tough situations, because I think that without that, we don't really get any of this. So obviously want Federico back and be super excited for that, but also maybe a blessing in disguise that we got to win a couple tournament games with these young guys getting some experience. So,
oh, for sure. I mean, like I said earlier, some of the plays that they make when they're on the court together are just so cool, which I fucking love.
Yeah, and I guess it'll be interesting to see how their team's kind of made up going into next year. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of new faces and a lot of faces gone. But in terms of what exactly the makeup of this team is and like what role the Twins play and like what position on the court Capel wants them at, if they recruit a couple big guys, another big guy to go with Fede, they want to put Guillermo in more of a wing role. Same with Jorge, more of a wing role than a down low guy, because they weren't necessarily supposed to be centers. They just had to kind of step in there toward the end of the year. So we will kind of see what they plan to do with them.
I'm excited, man. I think we're still going to have a lot of dynamic guard play with hopefully Dior staying, and then saw a couple clips this past weekend and early this week from Brandon Cummings, who was a freak athlete. So we're still going to get we're still going to have some good guard play. So just having them step into some of that wing role, like you said, another big guy for Fetty. Hinson will still be here shooting from wherever. I want him to. He ended up on the season, I forget what the final number was, but he was third all time in season high of threes made. So I want him to come back next year so he can break that record. We have a lot of good pieces there, and let's do the transfer portal thing again. Well, I think we'll be all right.
I mean, yeah. I know I've seen some reports today. They've already been in contact with a couple of players in the portal. I believe I saw a couple guards. I don't know if I've seen any big guys confirmed contact with Pitt, but definitely I think it depends. I don't know if we're going to put a lot of pressure on our freshmen to play, because I don't know if Capel likes doing that, but it's sort of a forward-heavy team going into next year. Obviously, we're going to need another center, but
we should look into that John Hughley guy.
Yeah, I heard he just entered the portal.
Brandon Cummings not coming on until he doesn't graduate until 2024. But next year, Jalen.
For whatever reason, I thought he was. That's my fault.
No, you're good. They do have a point guard coming in though, Jalen Lowe. And then Carlton Carrington is a more of a shooting guard. They have a couple good freshman guards coming in. Not sure. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be fighting for minutes, and then probably look to the transfer portal as well. I did see that they were talking to at least one or two guards already.
Can we just for once? Can we just go get a bruiser of a center? I feel like for the past, ever since probably the last time we made the tournament, we haven't had every team we played in the tournament, Iowa State, Mississippi State, Xavier, they had a guy that was just physical just so physical in the paint and was moving people out of the way. And I feel like that's Pitt basketball, man. Fetty's great. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But would love kind of the yin and yang there to go in and just body people.
You know who you're thinking of? You know exactly who you're thinking of when you made that statement?
Who?
DeJuan Blair. You're thinking of DeJuan Blair.
Yeah.
And if there was the perfect player to bring forward through a time machine to put on this Pitt team, DeJuan Blair would have made this team incredible. Oh my! Imagine the Twins learning how to essentially legally tackle someone on the basketball court from DeJuan Blair. That would be fucking awesome.
DeJuan Blair might even be too physical for today's game, if we're being honest.
Yeah, he could still play in the Big Ten, but I don't know about the ACC.
Right.
Yeah, with these refs, he'd be fouled out by halftime.
Yeah. But that's my Capel, if you're listening, that's my request. Go get you don't have to be 7 foot. Go get a guy that's, 6'9", 6'10", but actually can bench more than 125.
I think I agree. That's pretty much the only piece missing as far as what we've been able to recruit at this point. I mean, obviously depending on how the young guards play, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with the transfer portal. We'll keep you updated on all the Pitt basketball news, as now we're finally excited to talk about Pitt basketball on the podcast. You guys do you have any takeaways from the rest of the bracket? I know I already bragged about calling Purdue being bad. I didn't think they were first round bad. My bad on Duke. That one's on me. They got bodied by Tennessee.
Kent, did anybody maybe have them winning it all?
I
already said that was my bad. You don't got to do this to me.
Well, the funny thing about that, Zach, is you were not the worst pick on that pod. Arizona.
That is true. So
Yeah.
Arizona, losing to an Ivy League school.
How about them apples?
Oh my god! I watched that game live with a couple of my coworkers, and Princeton definitely deserved to win, but overall, one of the worst shooting games I've ever seen. There was nothing falling for either team, especially Arizona. I mean, they looked awful. And they kind of got bailed out by Purdue losing because that would have been the biggest upset of the day. But I mean, Princeton's in the Sweet 16.
Yeah. Kansas State might be the most fun team in the world to watch. So there's that.
Yeah.
I just love Marquise Noel, like Short King, doing his thing out there.
New York guy.
But yeah, I mean, so it's one of those weird things where it's been honestly pretty chalky, minus the big ones, like minus the Arizona, minus the FDU. It's been pretty like majority of the 1 and 2, like other than the ones we said, but like majority of the higher seeds are winning the games they're supposed to.
I disagree.
Okay.
We have 2 1 seeds left and 2 2 seeds. Now, 3 threes does not help my argument, but we've got a 9, a 7, an 8, a 15, a 6. Like the Midwest region, which Pitt plays in, is 1, 2, 3, 5. That's pretty.
Maybe
tough.
that might be why I'm biased all the chalk, because that's a very pretty like chalky region. So I'm gonna blame that on Pitt being in the Midwest.
West also pretty chalky. You have one upset, but it's an 8-1. That's a pretty big upset. You look at the East and the South, you've got a 6 and a 15 as well as a 9 and a 7.
Yeah.
And you even got to think, probably a lot of people would have taken Kentucky over Kansas State. So that felt, in everything but seeding, Kansas State over Kentucky feels like an upset, like spiritually. Like Kansas State was picked dead last in the Big Ten this year.
Yeah, they just really had to go and steal our storyline there a little bit, because we were doing our little Cinderella run after being picked to go second to last, and they just had to make it to the Sweet 16 and be really fun to watch. So,
and have a crazy short player that everyone fell in love with, and
a guy that literally collapsed on the court and then transferred and came back even better.
Also, you see the coaches like lavender, like really light purple, like jacket he had on the court in that game.
Yeah,
it's so good looking.
Those when they wear the light, like the lavender jerseys, I think they suck. But like the team apparel that they have to go with it is cool for some reason. I don't know, can't explain it. But the jersey stuff, the apparel's awesome.
Speaking of jerseys, what are your thoughts on Pitt wearing black for all 3 games?
Kent, please stop holding the microphone directly next to your face.
Kent, I hate them. I understand that we were very good in them, but I hate that colorway. Leave it to the pro teams in the city. Hot take.
I like them, and it's because we win in them. I also think that, like, I mean, let's be real. The yellows should be shot into the sun. They both look ugly, and we lose all the time in them. I don't mind the black and gold jerseys. Like they've got a nice white trim and everything, and I think it's acceptable for basketball to do it. If football did it, I lose my mind. But I like them. I'm not going to make a fuss, especially if we went 2-1 in them in the tourney.
All I'm saying is I hope that we don't lose in the blues or the whites next year, so we can be superstitious about them in the tournament and not have to wear the blacks.
Yeah, they need to get rid of those yellows for sure. Or, all right, at the very least, the yellows, I don't know why they don't have more blue in them. They're just yellow and white. With
Throw a stripe in there.
Throw some blue on the side. The blue ones are the same, except they have yellow on the side. Why don't the yellow ones have blue on the side? It makes no sense.
I'm gonna.
And our old yellow ones were perfect.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the old yellow ones. They had the script pit on the front. They had the blue and white stripe. Fantastic.
They were immaculate, and now we have garbage. So
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's the fact that it says Panthers in the subpar cathedral font. Like, the cathedral font is fine for a name on the back, but if you got Panthers across the front of it, they look so bad. Yeah, these really are fucking terrible.
they're awful. Well, yeah. If they just added blue, they would look 10 times better. I don't know what. We have some of the best colors in the country, and we have some of the worst uniforms in basketball right now.
Yeah, they always seem to fuck it up. It really does suck. Here's a question for you guys. How long do you think it is until they bring back the Navy and Vegas colorways / the block lettering? Like, how long do you think we have? What's our time impact? Our time
Before
to
we
impact
have some like throwbacks.
before they become throwbacks. Yeah,
So we switched in what 20?
19.
Okay, 2019.
We were starting to wear the original colors in 2018. They became full time in 19.
Yeah, I think you got to do at least 10 years.
So 2029, the earliest.
At the earliest.
Is
Listen,
this
man, we got it right. We got it right with the royal blue and yellow.
I don't even want to go. I don't want them to do it.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't want them to. It's gonna happen.
Is this just
Like,
going to be
I'm
like an
getting
endless
braced.
cycle? An endless cycle. In 10 years, we're going to like start wearing those again and be like, maybe we should go back to these. We'll go back to them for full time. And then 10 years later, we'll do it again and be like, actually, we like the royal.
Dude, it's just like one of those things where you just have to just stick to it. I know, like, they were never really my favorite colors. You wore them because you like supported the university, and that's what they wore. But if you gave me a choice, I think if you gave like 90% of America a Pitt shirt that had like the current colors versus the navy and gold, everybody's picking the ones we currently have. And
Yeah.
Always
Oh,
will.
for sure.
Rightfully so.
So I think even if they want to do a throwback, we still gotta like build the brand because like the Panther head's new. Like we've added we changed so much stuff. I think we have to rock with this for a good amount of time before we can start thinking about doing throwbacks.
I would like the Panther head to start becoming more prominent on more things, I think also.
Dude, you know what? I'm gonna say it. Bring back Dino Cat. Bring back Dino Cat. That's my hottest take.
And the new colors, maybe.
I would enjoy a new color Dino Cat. Also, I didn't realize this. They started wearing those. They were started wearing the retro jerseys in football as early as 2016. Now the old, like the navy blue colors, were only around about 20 years. Right? 20 years? Am I doing that right?
Yeah, let's make that a blip. Let's make that a blip on Pitt's history.
I agree. I do think, though, they are going to be brought back as a throwback at some point in the future, so just brace yourself. Shout out to Helmet History.
Let's just do, instead of doing everybody does throwbacks, let's just do a cool alternate. Let's go Oregon with it and get chrome helmets or something, man. I don't know.
All-white.
Yeah,
You give me an all-white, a little fucking... Not to be
Ice Panther, an Ice Panther uniform.
I mean, listen, everyone's just saying, "Oh, you're fucking copying Penn State." I don't care. Just do a whiteout. It's cool. Uniforms will be fucking cool. Fucking chrome blue helmets or whatever. I don't care. Get weird with it, but get Oregon weird with it, but don't get like too Oregon weird where you got like speckles and it's like your uniform's a Jackson Pollock painting.
A blue out with blue helmets would go crazy.
They do need blue helmets.
You don't need to bring in the other colors. Just do different stuff with the ones that we have, and people will love it.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. The fact they wore like the chrome face mask for the backyard brawl, I was like, dude, if you gave them like a metallic blue chrome helmet, I was thinking about that. I think it could be cool.
It would be sick.
I'm gonna send something in the chat. I want you guys to open this. This might be the funniest custom uniform I've ever seen. For those of you at home, this is a custom gold and black pinstripe authentic basketball jersey, courtesy of Fans Idea. So clearly, this is Pittsburgh themed. You've got a somewhat knockoff Pitt script on the front for your team name. And then the numbers are the Pirates numbers. It is just straight up the Pirates font.
There's somebody in Pittsburgh who's just dying to wear this to a music festival.
I mean, you could find this at the Kenny Chesney concert. I mean, I have no doubt about it. Hey, wait a minute. One of the example names for your team is Reading. They know.
Actually,
They know.
I actually would like it if it was if you take everything that was black and made it blue. It's almost like a Charlotte Hornets version of a Pitt basketball jersey. I think that would be all right.
Gives me
You know
some
what?
Pacers vibes.
Yeah, that too.
Would they do a Pitt pinstripe jersey? I mean, they already do it for baseball.
Baseball, yeah.
Guys, I feel like you're forgetting a alternate that we do have in our arsenal.
Oh,
The Iron Panther or whatever.
Yep, the Steel City ones. The
Oh,
dog shit.
charcoal ones that we wore for 2 games.
3, I want to say. I think we're like 1 and 2 in those jerseys too.
Three too many.
I thought it was 2. I thought it was Louisville and one other game.
Dude, I'm
I don't
pretty
know.
sure they.
The ones that Kenny Pickett said made them look like Army.
Uh,
But they made a
Louisville,
big deal,
Notre
big
Dame.
reveal. They spent, I'm sure, a ton of money with Nike to design these. And then I'm sure the designers at Nike are very upset that they have only worn them twice. I'm honestly surprised they didn't sign some contract that they had to wear them a certain amount of times. Maybe it was 2 games.
You are right. It was 2 games. It was Louisville and Notre Dame in 2020. They have not worn them since.
Yep.
Good.
I didn't
guess-
mind those. I'll be
Oh,
honest.
West Virginia?
I didn't like them.
Trust me, I like the blue and stuff more. I wouldn't mind them every now and then.
I guess like recruits like them for some reason, which I don't know. I guess I'm getting old if I'm like, damn, kids love the fucking Steel City jerseys.
I feel like they would have to be a night game. Like, wear them on like a random night game against like UNC.
That's also the problem is they wore them for 2, 1 o'clock, or 12 o'clock games.
Yeah.
They looked awful.
Yeah, at night they might go crazy.
But I don't know.
Wear them for like a Thursday night game against UNC.
I think okay,
I
I
don't know
will
if
say I'm looking at this jersey right now. I'm gonna say a couple things. One, Kenny's completely right. They make us look like Army. Helmets, I don't hate. The little panther head on the neck of the jersey where you've got this sort of half yellow, half black, I like. However, I also like the US Steel logo on the chest, but
Yeah.
everything else kind of sucks. I don't know.
I have the hoodie of this.
Oh yeah, you do.
I like it. I wear it a decent amount. I would like to match the football team sometime again.
That would suck if they just made this for 1 season, but I don't know, man. They got to come up with a good alternate. I think that's what we're taking away from this.
I was going to say, I think we found out what we're going to do in the offseason here. We're going to have to get in the lab, design a Mount Rushmore of jerseys, and throw together an Pitt alternate jersey Mount Rushmore.
There's not a lot of alternates to choose from.
No, I'm saying we design our own.
So we're designing and drafting. Okay, all right, cool. You know what? We're gassing ourselves up. It's fine. I love it.
Let's see how good our Photoshop skills really are. I don't have any at all, so this is going to be interesting.
This is going to be a
I'm
2-man
walking
race.
away with that win.
Dude, I'm pretty. Hey, Zach, don't sleep on my ability.
What was that?
Hong
I have
Shu.
my-
Hong Shu.
Hong Shu. I've got my nightcap on. I'm drinking a warm glass of milk. Oh man, I'm passed out. I'm never waking up.
I'm going to get an intern and pay them to design the jerseys. and just give them credit for an entire summer internship when they only did like 4 hours of work. So if you're a current student that needs credit, I'll sign off on it. I have no credentials to do so, but I will.
I mean, we'll go back to that riff we did, like 3 or 4 episodes ago. We will hire a summer intern, and we will lie like shit on your resume. It will be great, like contacts. We'll just you give us a script, and we'll just go off of it. So, yeah, just DM the podcast. We'll find something for you to do.
Oh, also shout out to the zoo. Shouting a shout out for giving us a shout out on the other good Pitt Twitter social media to follow.
Dude, we're big time. We're official. We're big time. We're gonna refuse a blue check mark. I like being able to change the profile picture. But yeah, shout out for the shout out. That was awesome.
What is the now that we are kind of like officially into the off season of college sports, we'll still get our beat writing for some of the smaller sports like baseball and stuff going. But what's the profile picture going in the off season looking like?
All right. It's going to be Nelly Cummings for the foreseeable future. Little behind the scenes peek here. I'll be redesigning the logo in the off season. So be on the lookout for that. I might even put it up to the public for a vote. But get ready for a new look podcast. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, season 2.
Season 2.
Let's go.
Hey, we got renewed. They didn't cancel us yet. All right.
Look at the link I just sent to.
Okay, let's check this out. Dude, this. Okay.
It's like janky. It's like janky because of the weird logo and stuff. But like, yeah, like I don't hate it.
No, I'm going to. This is a Montana State uniform, like 100%. Like the logo is a little different, but this is legitimately just a Montana State uniform.
Yeah, it's I don't like it, but that was the only one I could find. I was just trying to find some concepts just to get you guys
gears turning, get the brain cooking. Dude, but like that's what I'm saying. Something like that where you just mix the colors around a little bit.
I think a blue helmet would just be that's like a great place to start.
I think people would complain because like the yellow helmet is so iconic for Pitt football, but also I don't really care. You can, as long as I think.
Here it is. In 2023, they have blue helmets.
I want a uniform that would kill a pilgrim.
It's so chrome that the pilgrims are turning back to England. All right, I'm looking through some Oregon uniforms for some inspiration. I'll get back to you guys.
Oh my god, how many of them are there? Like thousands? They have so many uniforms.
Yeah.
You know what? All right, I found it. It's the 2019 Oregon away uniforms. These are beautiful. These are.
Do I remember this correctly? That they wore a uniform the one time with like orange cleats that like literally made them look like a duck, or was that just a fever Twitter dream that I had?
Yeah, Zach, those are fire.
Oregon football duck cleats. Orange cleats, maybe. This is great. This is great.
Could have 100% been an edit that a 7-year-old made, but in my head that was a thing.
You were not misremembering this. Let me try and get a date for you, but I found it. They wore not only orange cleats,
orange socks too, right?
Long orange socks. Let's
go.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like this. It's goofy enough. So this was a September 2016 game against Colorado. Nice pull, by the way. That's a great pull.
We need to get one that makes us look like a real life panther.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is We're wearing fursuits.
Yeah.
Put fangs on the face mask and ears on the helmet.
And there's a little button. There's a little button that does the third down.
Oh,
We have. I know where we can find a YouTube video with some sound bites of Panthers roaring.
hey, that's a podcast secret. All right.
We just wear like all black.
Yeah. I guess that's what it would be, huh?
Well, there's like different colored Panthers. There's Black Panthers, then there's like, aren't Florida Panthers like brown?
I don't think so. I think I'm going to Wikipedia right now. I'm going to Wikipedia right now.
Wait, Zach, do you have the link of those uniforms?
Which ones? The duck ones?
Yeah.
Duck. Yes. Let me grab this right now, and I mean this is talking uniforms. This is definitely terrible podcasting, but whatever.
Yeah. Close your eyes and imagine for a second.
I mean, listen. I don't know if you guys do this, but I can't listen to podcasts to go to sleep. Like, I can sometimes do TV, but like I'm always too concentrated. So like I hate listening to podcasts to fall asleep. This one is a great podcast to fall asleep to. This would be wonderful. And then you know what? Let the rest of the library play too. Just cue them up and just snooze. It's great for us. Help us out.
Yeah. If we're done talking uniforms, I think the uniforms are probably the least of our worries right now.
Listen, we just riffed for uniforms about 20 minutes, so
we did.
But you know what? We're passionate about it.
Talk about a riff.
Before we go, I would like to just thank the seniors. Thank them for all of the fun times they gave us both this year and years prior, if applicable.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know we did kind of talked bad about like a lot of the games just because we were very critical, but no, it was a great season. Thanks to all the guys, especially the transfers for coming in and just like giving it a shot. Like you said, would have never thought we made it this far. So it was a great season. And I have no complaints at the end of the day.
Yeah, man. Just to name them: Nike Sabandi, Aiden Fish, Greg Elliott, Nelly Cummings, and Jamarius Burton. I mean, you couldn't pick 5 guys out of a hat that were more different in their route coming to Pittsburgh, and yet they all came together and they put this team back on the map. So might not be how we wanted to end, but this season was such a big success, and these guys were the engine behind it. And thank you for all you've done.
They all played very critical roles this season. Very special group of guys. Special team this year. A lot of people in and around the program have just said how selfless everybody was this year, and just how well they got along and worked together, and it showed on the court. And the results also spoke for themselves versus some of the records and stuff that we've had the last 5 or so years. So kudos to them. Kudos to Nike for coming off the bench and not complaining too. I know that's a big thing. Winning 6th Man of the Year, well deserved, but he could have been starting at a lot of other schools. So for him to accept that role is also big.
One more thing, I guess, before I head us out of here. I believe all of Nike Sabandi, Nelly Cummings, Jamarius Burton, and Greg Elliott all finished their college careers over 1,000 points, which is a huge achievement, and we don't want to let that go unnoticed.
You are Pittmen. Yep, Pittmen for life. Any of you are welcome on the pod whenever you would like.
Yes, sir. All right. That's going to do it from us. Thank you for tuning in to Simplify Podcast. I don't know when the next episode is going to be. We'll figure it out. We'll shoot you an update out on Twitter. We'll probably be talking spring football. I'm going to see if I can set up an interview with maybe someone who would know more about spring football, seeing as though we can't exactly make that commute during the week to go watch the practices. I don't think they're open anyway. The teams are kind of like that. But either way, I've been your host, Zach Kaminsky. I've been joined by my wonderful co-hosts, Mason Kling and Kent Vanderwood, and we'll see you next time.
Hail to Pitt. That's the new open.